that sends a very strong message both back home as well as to Pakistan and those trying to claim credit for brokering a truce, a temporary truce between two countries. Remember that in the message that the American President Donald Trump had posted yesterday on Truth Social, along with, of course, the press conference that he had said that he thinks this will be a permanent ceasefire between India and Pakistan. But Minister Modi, in his speech yesterday to the nation, clearly indicating that this is temporary and everything now depends on Pakistan's behavior. Prime Minister Modi, of course, also put out a message on the social media about his visit to the Adampur Air Base as well. Let me go across to my colleague Sagarika for more on that. Yes, Sagarika, over to you.
Moments ago, the Prime Minister has posted about his visit to the Adampur Air Force Base. He says, and I quote, earlier this morning, I went to AFS Adampur and met our brave air warriors and soldiers. It was a very special experience to be with those who epitomize courage, determination and fearlessness. India is eternally grateful to our armed forces for everything they do for our nation. And the Prime Minister is echoing the sentiments of 1 billion plus Indians. He's also posted a few more pictures, Siddharth. We've seen about 3 pictures that have come in, and this is another picture that he puts out of the kind of Josh, and this picture symbolizes kind of spirit that our forces have today after the success of Operation Sindoor. So here in this picture you can see our Jawans there, seems like they are roaring. Here's another picture, a picture that we've already seen, that smile on their faces. I would possibly call this the smile of victory. Here there's another picture that the Prime Minister has posted in conversation with them, relaxed faces. This is what, when you bask in the glory of such a successful operation where you've achieved your objectives of smashing terror bases and sending out a message to the entire world. This is a picture that depicts that. And here's another picture posted by the Prime Minister. Just look at the smiles on their faces. This is the fist pump that all of them together put out. Relaxed, energetic, happy, and here with the Prime Minister standing with them. So here are a few more pictures. The Prime Minister too has posted about them. This is the latest update that's now coming in about this very significant message that the Prime Minister wants to send out by visiting the Avengers in Adampur.
Right, Sagarika, thanks a lot for taking us through those images that the Prime Minister has posted. You talked about this being a successful operation, indeed very successful, but one that is ongoing as well. Let me in fact go across to my colleague Pragya for more on this. Pragya, this is such a contrasting picture to what's been happening in Pakistan, where Pakistan, as a result of India's counter-strikes, specifically on their air bases, has been left to count the bodies, has been left to count the damages. And here's the Prime Minister at the Adampur Air Base, one that was part of the hit list as far as Pakistan was concerned, but easily protected because we thwarted Pakistan's attempt to target this particular air base. Prime Minister showing solidarity with our Jawans right there.
Absolutely, and why this particular airbase is important, because Pakistan fired Fateh missile that was shot down near Sirsa. In fact, the attempt was foiled by Indian air defense system forces, and this is exactly the message that Prime Minister wants to give out to Pakistan, in fact. And you rightly said that the images are starking. In Pakistan, we have, the destroyed air bases. We have their defense personnel being admitted in the hospital, whereas if you look at our forces, no casualty at all, which is a big achievement of our forces. And this is exactly why Prime Minister is leading from the front. This looks like a very small gesture to anyone, saying that Prime Minister visited this force and Air Force base and interacted with them, but it goes a very long way when it comes to the boosting morale of these forces. And not just that, they also feel one with the political establishment. The gap and the distance and in communication that used to be earlier, that BJP and central government used to say, has been done away with by these small visits and by these visits at a time when we have fought not so big war, but we have fought a war against Pakistan, and we have foiled their attempts before ceasefire. This is the motivation that these forces need, to see that the political establishment, the head of the country, is with them, boosting the morale. And one of the pictures, if you see their hands, everyone has raised their hands. It looks like that they have chanted Bharat Mata Ki Jai. It's also, a sense of patriotism that fulfills
Satya,
them.
I just need to interrupt you for a moment. Do stay with us because we're joined by defense expert Major General S.P. Sinha as well. General Sinha, thank you so much for speaking to Times Now, sir. First and foremost, what's your immediate response to the show of solidarity on the part of our Prime Minister visiting Adampur Air Base, which was supposed to have been on the hit list of Pakistan, but something that we managed to protect successfully? Tell us about what this gesture means, and in times of crisis such as these, what does it mean for a normal Jawan, for a person on the front lines, staring at the possibility of conflict, to be visited by the Prime Minister in such a support, sir?
This gesture by Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, is par excellence. It is fantastic. It is great. No amount of praise can really value the achievement of Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable Prime Minister leads from front. He does not follow instructions of anybody. He says, whatever decision I take, I will take it in national interest. That is our great Prime Minister. He does not bow down in front of anybody. He goes to the front. He goes to the achievers. He pats them on the back. He raises their morale. And when the Prime Minister pats your back, you imagine what height our morale would have gone up. Imagine. This is the same armed forces whose hands were tied during Congress regime, and the same armed forces, same level of competence, same level of professionalism. Look at the result.
Absolutely, General Sinha, completely agree with every word of what you've said. We're also currently joined by Lieutenant General Vishnu Chaturvedi as well. General Chaturvedi, tell us about what you make of this gesture on the part of our PM, sir.
It's totally amazing. It is adorable, and it is most required. Any great leader of the world has always stood by its troops. They are the ones who bring glory to us. And here is our Prime Minister, the most liked, lovable, popular Prime Minister of the world, who, despite the busy schedule, is involved in so many things. Last 15-20 days have been extremely strenuous. Despite that, he decides to go and meet the troops who have made this victory, this honor possible for the country. Our Honorable Prime Minister, he is there with those who were fighting, who did engage those Pakistanis airfields, and also engage the Pakistanis aircraft, drones. And here is and this goes miles in making the morale of the troops achieve the zenith. The troops look up to the Prime Minister, the troops look up to the senior officers, our army commanders, corps commander, who are always in the front.
Correct.
Here is an example of a ethical nation, a very correct nation who stands by the peace, but has capability to give it back in the right manner strongly if somebody tries to temper with its people, temper with its sovereignty and integrity. And that's what our great Bharat has done. The people of Bharat has stood with the armed forces, and that's how Prime Minister is there to convey the good wishes of the people of India. And that it is going to be astounding. The troops there will be sky high today. Their morale will be in real zenith today. I'm so happy.
And General Chaturvedi, just as a follow-up to that, sir, just as a follow-up to that, now, among the 26 locations that the Pakistanis had tried to target, and this was something that was, of course, mentioned by Colonel Sofia Qureshi as well as Wing Commander Vyomika Singh in their press conference, there were 26 locations that were part of a hit list that Pakistan had tried to target. Adampur was one of them. India managed to successfully, of course, thwart Pakistan's misadventures in this specific instance. And what does it then indicate? That the Prime Minister visits one of those very air bases that was on the hit list of Pakistan and stands shoulder to shoulder with the airmen serving there, sir?
The leaders always are at the most critical junctures, and that is the reason why they are respected. Our Prime Minister lives in the heart of every Indian, lives in the heart of every soldier, and that's what makes him so great, so popular. He is there where there were people who were under tremendous amount of stress for those 4-5 days, facing those aircrafts, missiles, drones, and at any time of those 96 hours, they were under threat. Despite that, these great sons of India have exhibited tremendous courage, valor, sincerity, commitment, and dedication to the nation. I think we are truly proud of this great nation. The political leadership, our Honorable Prime Minister, the Armed Forces of India have done a great job. It is really overwhelming to see our Prime Minister with the troops at those places which were under the maximum threat.
Thank you, General Chaturvedi, for speaking to Times Now. Jai Hind to you. We'll in fact go across to my colleague Pragya once again. Pragya, one thing that the Prime Minister emphasized yesterday very emphatically is that Operation Sindoor is not over. Operation Sindoor has merely been suspended temporarily, and everything now depends on Pakistan's behavior. At a time when the operation is very much ongoing, Pragya, where we cannot afford to let our guard down, this is a very critical moment with the Prime Minister spending so much time with our airmen at that particular airbase, with the frontline troops on the border, at a time when we are still in a state of high alert.
Well, one thing is very sure, that Prime Minister also knows that Pakistan can't be trusted, and therefore he said that our defense forces are still on alert. They are high alert, and in fact Defense Minister had a meeting with Tri Services Chief in the morning. They are getting real-time intelligence input as well, and this is exactly why Prime Minister said that Operation Sindoor is not over, and this is also, in a way, he is saying that this is a new normal for us. We are equating terrorists with the national government of Pakistan, because they are the one who are seen standing with the terrorists, and in fact many of them were at the funeral of those terrorists who were killed in this Operation Sindoor. So in a way, Prime Minister has made it very clear that if there is any sort of attack on Indian soil, it will be considered as an act of war, and not just that, we will retaliate in a way that we have retaliated now, destroying your air bases, destroying your launch pads and terrorist ecosystem, and also the infrastructure of the terrorism, all of that which is the backbone of Pakistan's economy. So all of that has been made very clear by Prime Minister himself yesterday, and also said that do not that we will come under a nuclear blackmail. This won't work now, and this is a message to the world, not just to the Pakistan who may try to interfere. Prime Minister has said only two things that will talk to Pakistan, on terror and on Pakistan.
I just need to interrupt you again. I'm sorry about that, because we're currently joined by somebody very important. We're currently joined by Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia, who is a former DGMO as well. General Bhatia, Jai Hind. Thank you very much for speaking to Times Now, sir. I remember back in 2016, following the surgical strikes after the attack in Uri, you had said something very important. You had said that surgical strikes had showed that India had exhausted its strategic patience, especially vis-a-vis Pakistan. How do you assess how things stand right now, sir, at this critical juncture, being a former DGMO yourself? And what do you have to particularly say about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's gesture by visiting one of the air bases that was on the hit list of Pakistan, managed to successfully shield?
Thank you. Firstly, the Prime Minister visiting the troops, the air warriors. I think that's a great gesture coming from the Prime Minister of India at a busy time when when the world is looking at India, and he goes and meets the troops. So I think that's a gesture which will raise the morale of the armed forces, and a sharpshooter is required. Any nation, any people will be rightly proud of the armed forces to have delivered at such a time, in such precision manner, such surgical strikes, and in such an effective manner, under ambiguous situations, I must say. And that is where I think the armed forces need to be saluted, and that's what Prime Minister had done, giving them a sharp sheet. If you look at yesterday's surgical strike, yes, that was the first of its kind. And if you look at it after 2016 September, after surgical strikes, there has not been a terror strike outside of J&K, right? So that is one message very clear to Pakistan, that the red lines are there and will not tolerate anything. But then again, 2019 was Pulwama, and 22nd April this year, unfortunately, was Pahalgam. Pakistan did not learn its lessons. They did not change their behavior, and they continue to support terrorism and use terrorism as a tool to bleed India. And now we have raised the bar. This time we have not only hit them, we have hit them hard, we hit them where it hurts, and we have not bothered anything else. And when the Prime Minister phone or pani saath nahi baith sakta, that is a very clear signal that Pakistan has to pay the cost and consequences of terror. Three things the Prime Minister brought yesterday is very clear, to addressing four constituencies. The first constituency addressed the people of India, the 1.4 billion people of India, 1/6 of the world's population, and he's a leader. And he said that we stand united against terrorism, we stand united as a country, and that is one message. The second message was to the armed forces, which said simply, well done, we are proud of you. And the third message was to Pakistan, very clear, that we will hit you, and we'll hit you hard. Terror and talks will not go together, terror and trade will not go together, and we will not tolerate anything. Our strategic patient not only run out, our strategy is always there, and we have shown our restraint by accepting the cessation hostilities as proposed by you. That proposal has come from the Pakistani side, that cessation of hostility will be there from the DGMO to our DGMO, and that is where I think the third signal was there. And the fourth signal was to the international community, where the Prime Minister said, look, we are here, we fight against terror. All the terror emanating of Pakistan, whether it was 9/11, whether 7/11 bombings in 7 July bombings in London, and epicenter of terrorism is Pakistan, and Pakistan will fight against terror as a global war of terror. So these are very four signals, and what has happened now is the sharp sheet to the air warriors and to the armed forces, which is the rightful due. At the cost of reputation, any nation, any people, any military will be proud of what the Indian Armed Forces achieved in the last 1 week.
Absolutely, sir. And one follow-up to that, sir. At a time like this, when our forces, of course, in a state of high alert, and we're closely monitoring Pakistan's action as well, because the Prime Minister clearly said India's future course will depend on Pakistan's rawaiya. That was the specific word he had used. In fact, we'll try to play that out as well, but we have a video. Thank you, Lieutenant General Bhatia, for speaking to Times Now and sparing your time and giving your valuable insights. We do, in fact, have a video as well that's been released of the Prime Minister's visit to the Adampur Air Base. Of the Prime Minister's visit to the Adampur Air Base just a short while ago, and these are exclusive pictures that we've managed to now access. The Prime Minister, of course, from his social media handle, had put out certain still images of his interaction with our air warriors at the Adampur Air Base. These are, of course, visuals, and our air warriors, men and women, are chanting Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Such a strong reception, and what a fabulous show of solidarity on the part of the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, with people on the front lines in Jammu and Kashmir. A strong message being sent out to Pakistan, which has suffered severe losses as far as its air assets are concerned, including massive damage to at least 5 different air bases scattered around different parts of Pakistan. Adampur Air Base was one of 26 locations that were on the hit list as far as Pakistan was concerned, and India managed to thwart Pakistan's actions. And here's the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, visiting the air warriors based in Adampur in this show of solidarity. A strong message also sent out yesterday during his address to the nation as well, where he clearly drew the red lines as far as Pakistan's actions are concerned. One very emphatic point that he made was the fact that India will not distinguish between sponsors of terrorism and terrorists. That's a clear message being sent out to Pakistan and, of course, the rest of the world as well, which has always tried to draw that specific distinction as well. Prime Minister also emphasizing that in future interactions with Pakistan, we'll only discuss two issues on the table. One is of terrorism, the other of Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Well, Pragya and Rishabh are still with us. Rishabh, coming to you, we've of course discussed with defense experts as well as Pragya the importance and the significance of the Prime Minister's visit to the Adampur Air Base. And this is particularly critical at a time when Operation Sindoor, Rishabh, is very much ongoing in the sense that it's only temporarily suspended, entirely, of course, being left now as to how Pakistan.
Well, Siddharth, if we talk about how things are, this music leaves you thinking what India's intent is. India's intent is, the resolve is very strong this time around. There is no tolerance, and we have been saying there is no tolerance against terrorism, but this time around we have shown that to what extent India can go. No target is out of reach of Indian armed forces in Pakistan. And let's talk about the Adampur Air Base. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached there around 7 a.m. in the morning, was there for an hour or so, met the air warriors as well as the pilots and the crew members who were part of Operation Sindoor. But why is Adampur so important? See, Adampur happens to be one of the major air bases very close to India-Pakistan border. It's in Jalandhar. It gives you a good surveillance in the northwestern border of India-Pakistan. Air defenses are there. It has housed MiG-29 as well as Su-30 aircrafts. Both these aircrafts have been very, very important in India's military strategy, and they have the capability of very quickly hit target deep inside enemy territory and return to bases. Apart from that, it has also sent a very clear message. Remember, there was a huge misinformation campaign by DGISPR that how they have hit our Adampur base. Prime Minister is in Adampur. We have seen the Adampur base. Visuals are out, stills are out, and it is very clear that the base is operational, base is up and running, and is ready to operate in any manner that India requires. So, in a way, Prime Minister also calling out the bluff that Pakistan was trying to create in last 2-3 days. Apart from that, Prime Minister visiting Adampur also sends out a very clear message. This showcases that while Asim Munir, the army chief of Pakistan, who happens to be the de facto ruler of Pakistan, was in a bunker when Indian armed forces were striking various air bases, for that matter 11 air bases of Pakistan, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has decided to be at Adampur Air Base, close to India-Pakistan border.
General A.K. Sivach as well. Major General A.K. Sivach, thank you for speaking to Times Now, sir. We did discuss the significance of the Prime Minister's visit to the Adampur Air Base in Punjab. But General Sivach, the DGISPR had carried out a propaganda campaign claiming that this particular airbase was actually hit by the Pakistani Air Force. That turned out to be complete misinformation that was debunked by satellite imagery as well. And here's the Prime Minister now visiting that very air base, showing solidarity with our air warriors. What does this gesture indicate, sir? General Sivach, if you can hear me, sir.
Hello, this is General Asthana here.
I beg your pardon, General Asthana. I got that wrong.
Okay.
General Asthana, please do take us through what this gesture on the part of the Prime Minister indicates in his visit to the Adampur Air Base in Punjab, sir.
Okay. See, as far as this visit is concerned, I am very sure that it is a morale booster for the troops. It is a great sign. It's an acknowledgement of their contribution. And also, as Pakistan was trying to brew the propaganda that this base has been destroyed. Now here is the Prime Minister there, and it's a good response to everybody all over the world to see that this base is absolutely in good shape, and Prime Minister being there counters all the propaganda which DG ISPR was trying to propagate. But let me also say at the same time, his being there is a very great message to all other troops and all other airmen who have participated in this particular operation and have exceeded and have done so well that Pakistani propaganda is being now countered stage by stage. So in the age of information warfare, every action which we take and every word which Prime Minister spoke yesterday, that was also countering a fair amount of propaganda, and a lot which is happening now also counters that propaganda. Prime Minister's speech also countered a lot of propaganda, like it was being seen as perhaps this ceasefire was brokered by the Americans. That was made quite clear. It was also made very clear that Kashmir is not an issue. As far as we are concerned, it's only POK getting back POK is the issue. It was also made absolutely clear that every act of terrorism, stroke, military action or intrusion would be responded accordingly. It was also made very clear that nuclear bogey hereafter doesn't exist because under the shadow of nuclear blackmailing, Pakistan cannot keep repeating a similar thing which happened this time. So I think a lot of messaging in his speech as well as in his actions as we go along, and all these visits, they certainly carry a fair amount of message as well as an exercise for boosting the morale of the troops.
General Asthana, good afternoon. Shreya Upadhyay here. You know, also, since you were mentioning the morale of our forces, it also, of course, goes on to show how the Prime Minister has always made it a point that he reaches out to the armed forces, whether it's Operation Sindoor or the previous times. We've also seen him, go there and meet the forces, meet the troops on occasions, on festivals. So obviously it helps when, your own Prime Minister leads the country in making sure that the armed forces remain encouraged and are told that the country is with them, standing with them solidly.
Certainly. See, Prime Minister being there has a very symbolic significance because he is not a human being by itself. He represents 140 crore people of 1.4 crore people of India. So the issue is that he represents everybody, and therefore whatever he speaks is basically an acknowledgement by the entire country. So this is something which a soldier having fought a successful battle who he looks for. So I think it's not only a message to the troops, it's also the message to other warriors of the post-conflict situation, that how normal things are,
yes,
how well this base is, and how good the morale is of not only the Prime Minister and the troops and the entire country. So these are very significant messages, and these visits certainly count towards developing, shall I say, a psychological dominance, yes, over the adversaries who are involved in a large-scale propaganda and an information war. See, at the end of the day, besides winning the ground actions, we also need to win the perception, war of perception, and this information war. And we know that a fair amount of media is buying the Pakistanis' propaganda and is helping them out,
yes,
because perhaps for many reasons, Western countries feel that they still need Pakistan, because if there is an Iran option, then maybe USA needs Pakistan, and therefore whether it is New York Times or it is Wall Street Journal or so many other publications, they still carry the narrative of Pakistan to an extent or the other. Also, they do not want the Pakistan military to get discredited to an extent that it ceases to remain a force and there is a security problem of their nuclear weapons. So these are some other considerations, although one may not agree to those considerations because Pakistan military itself has become a terrorist organization. So that is another factor. But then the fact is many in West believe that they are the custodians of the nuclear weapon. Therefore, they should not be degraded beyond a point. And therefore, they are trying to help them out. And we need to up the ante from every angle.
Yes.
The kinetic actions may be on pause, but the non-kinetic measures and the non-kinetic war is still on. And in that, I think we have not stopped any non-kinetic measures. The information war is omnipresent, and we have to win that information war. And I keep saying in every channel nowadays that all of you, the media itself is also the information warriors of the country, and you are also a part of this greater perception building exercise as well as fighting the information war on behalf of India.
Right, General Asthana, thanks very much for joining us and sharing your perspective.